Let's get right to it with Iowa Congresswoman Ashley Hinson, one of those Republicans demanding President Biden do more. Congresswoman, welcome to you and welcome to the program. We saw you there with your fellow Republican members of Congress calling on this administration to do something to stop this. What exactly do you think we can do today to stop these cartels from coming in?
Sandra, thank you for having me on the show today. It's very serious what's happening at our southern border, and it's also very clear to all of us that President Biden has done everything in his power to cut off our CBP agents and our ICE agents from being able to do their jobs. What we need to be doing is cut off these cartels at the knees from being able to function. They are a criminal enterprise. We have a lot of threats at our southern border. The more than 250,000 illegal immigrant encounters in the month of December alone. Since October, more than 38 people on our terror watch list have been apprehended at our southern border. And already in January, more than 10 sex offenders have been apprehended. So those are all sobering statistics, very real threats. But the real threats are the cartels and the people we don't know about who've made their way across the southern border. So it is time that we absolutely secure our southern border. We have the tools to do that. And we need to be empowering our brave men and women who are doing everything they can to keep our country safe and protect us from the cartels.
And of course, combating the growing threat of fentanyl in this country. We are just seeing far too many stories day after day, heart-wrenching stories of young people in this country who are killed by this drug crisis that is happening. The DEA drug seizures in 2022 alone, Congresswoman, they are shocking. We've got the numbers up on the screen. 50.6 million fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills coming in, 444,000 pounds of cocaine. People need to see these numbers. 131,000 pounds of methamphetamine. 10,000 pounds of fentanyl powder, 4,300 pounds of heroin. This is killing our young people every single day in this country, Congresswoman. How do we stop that?
Yeah, and it is terrifying. I have a dad, a constituent in my district, who reached out to me and said he's concerned that the next pill his son takes is going to be one that's laced with fentanyl. His son has a drug problem. So it is a very real threat in our backyards. It's why a member from Iowa cares about what's happening at our southern border, because those dangerous drugs, the fentanyl, the meth, make their way up Interstate 35 like a pipeline right into the great state of Iowa, and they are hurting our families and our kids. So controlling the border is absolutely what we need to be doing. We need to be devoting resources to our CBP agents. We need to be looking at technologies. I was down at the Del Rio sector just a little over a year ago. They told me, again, the cartels are making about $11 billion a week off of people and off of this misery at our southern border. So it is a criminal enterprise, which means that they have the resources to be able to get that technology, buy those weapons, and then fight back against our brave men and women. So it means cutting them off at the knees. It means absolutely enforcing the laws at our southern border, meaningfully enforcing Remain in Mexico. The CBP agents have asked us to make Title 42 permanent. I'm hopeful we'll be able to do that. But again, before we move forward with immigration reform, we absolutely need to be focused on safety and security at our southern border.
I mean, amazing how you connect the dots there for people who think this is just a border state issue. When you're telling stories like that, father in Iowa, fearing that the next pill his son could take could be laced with fentanyl and kill him. That is a fear too many parents have in this country right now. The violence is headline news almost every day. Knowing these cartels are infiltrating our country, Congresswoman, you led off, finally I'll ask you, you led off by saying you believe that the Biden administration is enabling this. The Biden administration says the opposite. The president paid that visit to the border, didn't see much of what we see every single day and that we report on every single day. Is a bit of a different scene that he visited. But he says they're on it. He's got a border czar. He says that's Kamala Harris, that she is trying to stop these migrants from coming from where they are, multiple countries. He says he's on it. So what leads you to believe that this is an administration that is enabling these migrants to continue to flow over in record numbers?
Well, the enabling happens by, again, meaningfully not enforcing the laws at our southern border. And that's why I've called for the resignation of Secretary Mayorkas, because we have a complete void in leadership at the Department of Homeland Security. So if we are actually enforcing our laws, that cuts them off. That cuts off the cartels, and it makes them less powerful. When the president is meeting with the president of Mexico and the plan they're presenting to the American people is gender, equity, inclusion, and climate-based, that does nothing to solve these problems. And the cartels are probably sitting across that that southern border, laughing at us continuing to make billions of dollars. So it's time we get serious about this issue. These sobering statistics we continue to see breaking record after record. Iowans are telling me they want it to stop, and Americans are saying we've had enough as well. So we are leading the charge, again, to hold this administration accountable, and looking forward to asking them some very tough questions on this issue.
Congresswoman, again, welcome to the program. I believe it's the first time you and I had a chance to speak. Thank you very much for joining us and coming on today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sandra. Appreciate you.
We will stay in touch. Trace, we'll have a whole lot more on